Alrighty, let's get into something fun.
Welcome to the Foolish Wanderers podcast.
Why must I be surrounded by fools?
Welcome, Wanderer.
Because my sister was like, I sent an email because Kendra really
I
seems like she was
it!
It was really cute.
Yay! I love it. Who sent me an email? Oh, it's so much fun. Giant rotisserie chicken.
Do you want to read it? She's like, I sent Kendra an email, so that she needed it.
I did need an email.
Hey Wanderers, welcome back to the Foolish Wanderers podcast. The podcast where we talk about anything and everything, and today we're discussing strangest things that have fallen from the sky.
Whoop, whoop.
Before we begin with the crazy shenanigans, we want to thank my sister for sending us an email. It really made Kendra's day.
Yes, it did. And if you want to make my day, continue to make my day, you can always email us at
fwplisteners@gmail.com.
And thank you to Katrina's
Thank you!
sister.
Yay! Should we read it?
Oh yes. First we have to. So first we're gonna start with the subject and the subject line. It says, I don't know. I guess the subject is Australia. Says, do you want to read it or shall I?
Do you want to read it? Since it's here.
I will. Plus,
For
I
you.
haven't gone through the whole thing, so it'll be some
That's okay.
surprise for me. Okay. So it says, since Kendra, that's me, wants an email, I thought I would write down some thoughts I had while listening to the Emu War episode. Okay, and then she has just like a list, like a bulleted list. She says,
Yep.
Mom jeans are closer to straight jeans than skinny jeans. Also, I love them. I like the mom jeans.
They're comfy. They're growing on me.
The main ingredient of cereal is cereal grains, and that's why it's called cereal. Nature's cereal is just wet fruit.
That's my favorite line. It's just wet fruit. That's it.
Walmart brand ostriches. Yay! I came up with that one, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Then this one is in like a series of capital letters and lowercase letters. It just says giant rotisserie chickens.
Look at all those chickens.
Yeah. Look at all those
Look at
chickens.
those chickens.
I wonder how many chicken nuggets you could get out of an emu. I would say probably like 1,000, but I bet they'd be like really tough because it's a very it has a lot of muscles in it.
I'd say 0 because they're not chickens.
Ah! Okay, you got us.
Emu nuggets.
Yeah, emu nuggets. Duh. And
Yeah.
she says, I'm not surprised Katrina, you, is
Yep.
Team Emu. I know, Katrina, that's just sick and wrong. It's like you're rooting for like the Sith, or you're rooting for like Thanos, or you're
Hey,
rooting.
Thanos had some good points. Not saying
Oh
what he did
my
is right.
god!
No,
Or
I'm
it's
not.
like you're rooting for like Cobra Kai from Karate Kid. Or you're rooting for like
No,
who's
but
a yeah.
if Thanos went about the way he snapped
Oh
in a
my
different way,
god!
it would have been
No,
okay. If he would have doubled supplies on Earth and
We're
have
not
throughout the
getting into this.
galaxy,
We're not getting into this. This is a whole nother episode. This is like a nope.
this is a
I'm
spin-off
reading.
episode.
Nope. I'm reading a beautiful email. I don't want to get my feelings upset. Okay.
Okay.
And then she
Yeah,
says,
let's continue.
Australia not building a fence in the first place and defaulting to war on emus is the most Australian thing I have ever heard.
Yeah.
I like that sentence. That they did. And she put, also apparently Australia is having another mouse plague?
Yeah,
What?
so she included a link, and it goes to, it looks like
She
NBC
added a
News.
link.
Yeah, where it says, worst mice plague I've ever seen. Millions of rodents descend on eastern Australia.
It says they're all over the house. Every time you open a drawer, you're potentially going to find one.
That's so nasty.
And this is March 22nd. This article is from March 26, 2021.
Yeah, so just
Oh
a few
my
days ago.
gosh.
Yeah.
What the heck? Mouse plague. Like, plague is a very,
It's a scary word.
It's a scary word.
Yeah. Kind of speaking on the same note, there's like, so, what is it? It's like the Illinois, kind of like the surrounding states and stuff. Let's see, what region is it?
Well, you're going to look at that up. Here we go. Farmers have uploaded videos to social media of mice blanketing their land, damaging crops, and taking up residence inside homes. Oh my god.
No, no thanks. Mice are cute, but not in that quantity.
Oh my. Nope. I like the only mice that I find cute are the cartoon Disney ones that sing and wear clothes. That's the only mice that I like.
Fair enough.
Oh my god, they're thinking it's 20 million mice. That's
That's
more
crazy.
mice than the population of most big cities. At one point, the man in this article says that he and his family were catching and disposing of around 100 mice each day from their house and their offices. Oh my gosh.
That'd drive you insane though, because like if
I
you
would
open
just
up anything, it's just you can't stop it. So it's just everywhere constantly.
I would just have like a flamethrower. I don't even know.
Not for spiders, but for mice.
Oh my gosh, it just is having like horrible, like severe economic and social effects on these people. And they're like
Yeah,
giving it says like some farmers are giving up on their summer crops because the mice are like obviously eating the crap out of everything. So it's like complete failure.
that's horrible.
Oh my goodness. I'm trying to figure out what the heck is wrong with this. Oh, it just says that mice plagues can come around every 5 to 10 years.
Oh, that's good to know, I guess.
I'm like, but why would you still live there? A mice plague would
Well,
definitely be the limit for me.
I mean, like if you have a farm situated where you're at, like you're not gonna just be able to pick up and leave.
Mhm.
Especially if it's like a family like land or like if you've been there for years and years,
Oh,
like
I guess.
but I mean you kinda
Ugh.
if this happens like every 5 to 10 years, you probably have to plan ahead and just like put aside like
Oh, it's so
resources so
awful.
it
It's
doesn't
so awful.
yeah. Yeah. Kind of on the, the same notion there. This year is supposed to be another one of the giant cicada hatching seasons where every 17 years there's a certain breed of like or a certain type of cicada that comes out of the ground in like the millions and
Where is this? Australia too?
no, this is the US. This is let's see. So these are the states that'll be affected spring this year. Spring 2021.
And
Delaware.
cicada, wait, cicada is that like that big huge bug that goes like like
Yes,
hisses, right?
yeah, the big noisy bugs in the
It like
trees. Yeah.
endlessly hisses. Okay. All right.
Yep.
So what are the states that it's going to affect this year?
All right, so these states Delaware, Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, and Washington, D.C., and
Oh
all
my
regions
gosh.
of North Carolina.
All right, all of our FWP listeners, the fools. That's what we should call the foos.
The foods.
The foos.
Isn't
We.
that already taken, though?
I hope not.
Isn't like Red Foo a thing? And then he has like the Foo? Maybe not.
Who is that? Is that the Black Eyed Peas member?
No, he's a singer.
I don't. I think he's like Black
Red
Eyed
Foo.
Peas, right?
No, he's like a he used to be popular on YouTube because he does like really strange, outlandish dances and like outfits and stuff.
Ew.
Oh, it's like the "Let's Get Ridiculous" was one of his songs in 2013. I think that's the one I'm thinking of.
I don't know who you were talking about.
Okay, move on.
Anyway, all of the fools better buy some protective headgear or earwear.
E-
What is it? Earwear? What is?
Earwear,
Yeah.
headwear. I
Headwear?
don't know.
Earplugs? That's probably the best term.
Yeah, probably. Well, like they're big enough. I don't think they'd try to go in your ears.
No,
But
but like
yeah,
the noise, because that's annoying.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
annoying.
Well, there's like a decibel. I forgot. There's
Where
yeah.
is
So it says some of the more ruckus choruses can exceed 100 decibels. So like in the concentrated areas. Yeah,
when are these things supposed to happen? Like the summer?
this spring. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
like in a couple, like in a month or two.
Probably like a month or two. All right. Well,
Yep.
all the listeners, I guess you can drown out the cicadas by listening to Kendra's hissing instead. We have 13 other episodes that you can listen to.
Yes,
Drown
we
out the
do.
cicadas. Advertising.
Plug all of our things.
I just plugged them all. Here we go.
Alrighty, should we get into the strange things that have fallen from the sky?
We shall get into the strange things that have fallen from the sky.
To start off this exciting adventure of things that have fallen from the sky,
What made
have-
you want to talk about things that has like fallen from the sky? Did you see something?
we shall get to that. The last
okay.
one that I have will be my inspiration for this interesting episode. But yeah, I think it was from a podcast originally, so I don't just watch TikToks, I listen to podcasts. I'm some sort of educated, okay? It's fine.
Even though
Alright.
we both have art degrees. Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah. What's the strangest thing that you have ever heard that has fallen from the sky?
Mm,
Besides normal rain, like rain, hail, sleet.
meteors, I know that, like, space junk will fall
Yeah.
from the sky, like, that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
like, obscure, like, pieces.
Hmm.
I've heard what have I heard? Like, birds.
Yeah.
I've
I've
heard
heard of that
that.
too.
I know, like, something like reptiles or something like that, you know?
Okay.
Mhm.
So you got a few on this list.
Good.
Okay. So the first one I have here is frogs. Frogs and tadpoles have actually been quite common to fall from the sky since they are unfortunately victims of water spouts, or like when,
Yeah, like it's a water tornado, right? That's what
yeah,
it
pretty
basically
much,
is.
yeah. Yep. So like go over like a pond or like a lake or whatever and suck them up and then like fling them like wherever because yeah.
Okay, now is it a tornado that's just like in Kansas and it just happens to go across a pond and then suck it all up? Or because
So
I'm
it
like, how
says
does a water spout form over like a pond? Because I'm thinking like a pond, like a small pond.
yeah, okay, yeah. So what I have is as the vortex moves over land or water, it sucks up the animals and carries them through the upper atmosphere until they rain down on unsuspecting people below. So, so I don't really know. Let me Google definition of water spout.
Like maybe it's like a water spout, it just means like it's a tornado that happens to go across water, and then when the tornado's across water, it transforms into a water spout and then turns back into a tornado when it hits land.
Yeah, I don't think it's like that because like I feel like if a tornado, except I don't think can tornadoes even go over water. I
I
think they
have no
diminish
idea.
in power over water. But yeah, so a water spout is, at least to Google, a water spout is an intense columnar vortex that occurs over a body of water. Some are connected to cumulus congestus clouds.
What?
A cumulus congestus cloud. It's a non-supercell tornado over water. Okay, so it's just like a really weak tornado, pretty much.
Okay,
So like
okay.
it's not gonna tear
Cool.
apart trees and stuff, but it'll
Mhm.
suck up little aquatic animals.
Fun.
So fun times. Yeah, so one example is in 2009 around the Ishikawa prefecture in Japan. They found tadpoles and frogs everywhere, roofs, fields, roads, and no one really knows exactly how it happened, but they're thinking it's probably like a water spout kind
Yeah.
of situation. They just kind of like got thrown up and then transported like however many yards away.
Mhm.
And then there's even accounts in ancient Greece, because in ancient Greece philosopher Hercules Limbus wrote about instances so many frogs rain from the sky that the houses and roads have been full of them. So kind of like the same thing, like where they,
Ew.
yeah, so it's kind of like a cumulus like dead frogs.
That's such a lovely image.
Yeah. Right.
All right. So 2009 is like the latest that this has happened.
I believe so. At least like from the articles that I saw, it could have happened another times, just not reported, or because it's not the most uncommon. It's definitely the most common occurrence of like stranger things to fall from the sky than the rest of
Mhm.
this list. So, but
Fun.
strange nonetheless. So the next one, this one's a little bit hard to believe. So in 1969, there's a factory in South Carolina that produced the non-dairy creamer Cremora. I don't know if any
Cremora.
Cremora. Don't know if any of you know of it, but it's a creamer. The factory was struggling with malfunctioning air vents. Apparently, the powder got like so stuck in there, and the mixture started to leak out into the air, or it mixed with the rainfall and fell like glops of this
Ew,
coffee additive
Mel.
into Chester, South Carolina. Yeah, so it's just raining coffee creamer, like powdered coffee creamer, and they had to pay a fine of $4,000.
That's
For
it?
that's it, yeah. And apparently,
That's
I saw,
it?
yeah. And I saw like a source saying that they didn't actually pay that until like 20 years later.
Oh,
So I don't know what happened
that's
there.
great.
But yeah, so they had to pay a slight fine for letting it rain coffee additives.
That's disgust so it's just like creamer.
Yeah, well, I think it was like a powdered creamer, but yeah, it just
Like,
like mixed with the water.
it would turn into like a creamer, so it's just like cream
Yeah,
falling
pretty
from the
much.
sky. That's disgusting on so many levels. And
Just
that sounds horrible. We move on.
oh, you don't want to walk out and with your cup of
Get
Joe in the morning and just gonna get some rainwater and it turns add some creamer. It sounds like Cloudy the Chance of Meatballs, but weirder.
I don't want cream to fall from the sky.
Okay, we move on.
So many odd things that I don't want. Disgusting. Disgusting. We move on.
Okay. So next one I have is fish, which again, like frogs, isn't the most unusual thing to fall from the sky. So in Mexico, it's apparently so common that they have a name for it. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce this, so I apologize. It's Levia Dipisis, I believe.
What's it
Literally,
mean?
rain of fish.
Oh, that's lovely. So, like, the
So
meteorologist will be like, and wind patterns will probably be around, wind speeds will be around 10 to 15 miles an hour. And just coming in over the northwest, we have the rain of fish.
news at 10. Coming up tomorrow night is cloudy with a chance of fish.
That's good. I like that one.
Thanks. Yeah, so again, like the frogs, it's like water spouts. They say they lift up actual schools of fish and then again carry them inland and drop them off wherever it lands. And I guess fish have fallen from the sky anywhere from California to England to India, and of course Mexico, where they have
The rain of
the
fish.
name the rain of fish. And
Very
it's
common weather. Very common weather.
apparently, yeah, and apparently the most recent event was in 2017, so not long ago at all.
Ew. Do you think you could, this is like a dumb question. Do you think if like you had like a bucket, like they're like the rain of fish is coming, if you had like a bucket or like a laundry hamper, like a plastic one, and you
Yeah,
had it outside and you caught the fish, do you
yeah.
think you could eat the said fish or no?
I was kind of wondering the same thing, but I don't know. It depends what type of fish, I suppose. Because like if it's like an edible fish, I'd imagine you probably could.
Because if it's like a salmon or something like that, I would
Hmm.
definitely chance it. I, I
Free
feel
salmon? Heck yeah.
I feel like the rain of fish would be safer than gas station sushi. So
Probably.
maybe gas station sushi is made out of the rain of fish from Mexico.
Oh, questions left unanswered.
I just had opened up a conspiracy theory right there. All
Dun
right,
dun dun.
let it lie. Let's move on.
All right. So next one might make your skin crawl a little bit. Can you guess what it is?
Birds,
No, not quite.
big birds,
A little smaller.
emu birds,
No, smaller yet.
spiders.
Yes.
Oh,
So I guess in Australia, because it's Australia,
it's
spider rains.
Australia.
It's Australia. So not only do they have mice plagues, they also
Emu
have
wars.
emu wars. They also have spider rains that happen quite frequently. So apparently, it's like a natural phenomenon called ballooning, where basically spiders
Ballooning.
ballooning. Yeah,
Are they in hot
where
air balloons, like going around in the
they're
countryside?
just
They're like,
that's kind of cute. Having a little hot air balloon with a
that's
spider in
disgusting.
it.
That's disgusting. That's just
Okay.
wrong on so many levels.
But pretty much what ballooning is when a spider, like from like a tall tree or a tall shrub or something, they spin a strand of silk that allows them to be carried off by wind. So they had to be pretty small yet. But then like usually when it happens, like it happens all the time, but usually when they do this, like it's just a few of them at a time. But when they get these spider rains, it's like thousands on millions of spiders. So
No,
yeah, so that usually, so like if you look up pictures of these things, like trees and cars and streets are just covered in webs and like spiders, and it's disgusting. I wouldn't leave my house for a few months. But it's happened. I guess the last time it happened was around 2012 and 2015. So residents said that it looks like it's snowing outside because the spiders drift down and the webs blanket the landscape. So it's spider snow.
I just don't understand. Many list why people live there.
It's a mystery. I
Like,
know.
if any listeners are listening from Australia, please write in and tell me why you live in Australia. I mean,
Please.
Australia was originally created as a penal colony. So like prisoners were like forced to go over there as like a
Yeah.
punishment. And
Yeah.
since there's like a mouse plague and ballooning of the spiders and emu wars and all these other like horrible things that want to kill you there, I understand why it's a punishment to live there.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing to think that everyone actually wants to live there. I mean, I'm sure it's beautiful, but at the same time, the many things that can kill you make me not want to visit it very much.
Oh, I'm sure it's very the sunsets are very beautiful as you're like chucking dead like thousands of dead mice carcasses out of your house and you're like,
Oh,
"Oh, the sunset. Ah, so beautiful."
hey, that makes up for it. That's
Or like how
perfect.
the sun shines through the millions of like spider web cobwebs all over the trees. You're like,
Yeah,
"Wow." It's very mythical. Oh, it's
yeah.
beautiful.
I've seen TikToks of like lately. 'Cause there's a lot of people on Australia that I've seen TikTok. Anyway, on TikTok, there's I think it was one video where this lady she went into the like the public bathrooms or whatever. She just
Mhm.
walks in. She's like, "This is what our public bathrooms look like." And she goes, "Oh, here is our first bathroom spider." And it's just this giant spider. It looks like it's at least the size of a fist. It's huge. And it's
No.
just sitting there, it's just chilling there, and like
Oh,
in the middle of the bathroom, like in the
no.
corner of the bathroom. And I'm like, why? And then she goes around, and I think it was by like the actual toilet. She like looks down, and she's like, "Oh, and here's our second backup spider." And this is what is it called? It's like an orb weaver. What's the like? I think it's like a poisonous one, but it's a giant spider.
I don't
Again, the
want to
size
know.
of your fist.
Don't
And I'm
want to
like,
know.
I would be terrified to leave my house.
The spiders are so large, they have their own social security numbers. I just don't
Yes,
like
they
it.
do.
I just don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. Don't like it one
Uh,
bit. We move on. We move on. We move on.
okay. All right. So the next one is frozen iguanas.
That's in Florida.
Yep, that's from Florida. So in
I've heard
2000.
that one before. I mean, okay, if something weird's gonna happen in the US, no offense to any of the fools that listen from Florida, but it's gonna happen in Florida.
Yeah, Florida's like our mini Australia a
I
little bit.
love Florida's such like a crazy, just
It's a
insane
great,
place.
it's a great like news headline content. Like if you just read their news headlines,
It's great.
it's fantastic. Yeah, so in 2008, there is a brutal bomb cyclone where temperatures dropped so low that the iguanas basically, like their bodies, like their nervous systems and things, like basically told them to shut down. So
Like
they'd like
hibernation or like death.
hibernation, but
Okay.
they'd be in trees and like in high places or whatever, and their bodies would just stop like being able to move, and they just basically shut down, like all systems shut down, and they'd fall because they lose their grip on these trees and whatever, and so like they fall to the ground. Some of them did die because if they're up so high,
Uh-huh.
but then
Yeah.
but when it got warmer, apparently some of them woke up and just ran off, just like normal. So yeah.
What?
so so if they were lucky enough to be closer to the ground or like at a reasonable distance, they just woke up when it got warmer, like, oh, okay, and ran away.
Wait, did a water spout come pick them up?
No, it's because they were in trees and then they froze and they
Oh,
fell.
that's how they fell to the ground. Okay, I
Yeah,
get
so
it
it's,
now.
yeah, it's just in
Oh my
trees and yeah,
gosh. Yeah, Florida's
yeah.
just a magical place. It's just like full of like the swamps. You got like alligators.
Hmm.
You've got like the flamingos, oranges, Disney World, AR-15s, old people. Um, like,
People.
I mean, it's great. It's magical. Frozen iguanas now, we can add to that. And if you want to learn more about weird things from Florida, you can listen to our previous episode about the skunk ape,
Yes,
which
please do.
is the Floridian cousin of Bigfoot.
It's a spooky episode.
Oh, it's spooky, all right.
It's spooky. All right, now we get to another a little bit grosser, I guess. The
Ew,
thing that
how
followed from them.
okay, what do you mean grosser? Because we've already talked about ballooning of the spiders, like cream from the sky. We just did frozen iguanas. Okay, let's move. Okay, what's grosser than this?
How would you like some fresh meat?
What?
Yes.
What kind? What
MEAT.
like what kind of meat?
They
What
don't really know.
kind? What?
So, on a nice sunny spring day in 1876, Olympia Springs, Kentucky,
Mhm.
Mrs. Allen Crouch was outside making soap. It started raining chunks of meat.
What do you mean chunks? Are they diced? Are they minced? Are they sliced? Are they
It's just, I don't know. I doubt someone took a meat cleaver to it and just started
chopped?
hacking up meat. It was like, oh, rain for the skies, just like free meat.
And
No,
the
I think,
streets.
no, I think it's just like chunks of meat. I don't know if it was like cut or whatever, or just
Ugh.
torn. I don't know, but it's just chunks of meat. And they started steadily falling like around her. And I guess later, since people were trying to figure out obviously like what this was, like why did it happen, what kind of meat it was, there was a few men that decided to taste it.
No, of course it
And
was men. Of course it was men.
yeah, there's either 2 to 3 men, depends on who you ask, what sources you read.
Depends on who you ask. Okay.
But they couldn't decide if it was either venison or mutton. So that was kind of,
Ew. So it was either like deer or lamb?
yeah. Yep.
Oh.
But so then there is one Dr. L&D Kastenbein came to one conclusion. He said that it could possibly be made up of vulture vomit,
Oh
um,
my god.
where vultures are known to throw like vomit, like as a way to defend themselves, like make their bodies lighter so they can fly away easily.
Ew.
But this is also kind of like greatly doubted because it rained for like it rained around her farm, so like it wasn't just like one spot. Like if it was just like in one control, like a few feet, like I could understand that, but it was like
Yeah.
around her farm, so that kind of throws a little bit of a wrench into that theory. And there's another analyst that said that it might not have been meat at all, but a type of cyanobacteria or cyanobacteria that congealed into a fleshy jelly when exposed to
I
rain.
think it was that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes more sense, but I don't know. I feel like even if it congealed, like it wouldn't have that, like like the texture of meat.
It might. I don't know.
Maybe
But I mean, what kind of like, who's dicing up mutton and bunch of mutton and,
I don't know.
venison and then chucking it into a water spout to see where it's going for
It
the
just went over.
sky?
It just went over like Atlantis, and they're having like a barbecue day, and just like, oh, all of our meat's gone.
I don't,
It
yeah.
goes to Kentucky.
I mean, the logic, it has to be like the fungus thing.
You'd think that would be the most likely, yeah.
Hmm.
But since it was in the 1800s, it still remains a mystery. No one actually really knows what it was.
Oh, that's just horrifying. Okay. Next, next, next.
So now we get to the last one, the one that started this whole shebang off.
Yeah.
So this is a topic that I learned about. It was one of my favorite shows growing up, Mysteries at the Museum. I love that show so much. This was also the meat rain was on that one. There's a thing called Blob rain that happened much more recently. So on August 7th, 1994, in the small town of Oakville, Washington, there was a torrential rainstorm of a translucent and a gelatinous blob sort of substance that fell from the sky. This was on a small town of like 700 people, and it covered about 20 square miles. Yeah. Uh,
Where was this?
Oakville, Washington. It's just like a
Okay.
really small town. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so at the time this started happening, it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. There's a police officer named David Lacey. He was on patrol with a civilian friend when the bombs began raining down. He said that he pulled into like a gas station or something, and he tried to wipe off his windshield wipers because they were getting
Ugh.
like the blobs were
Yeah.
getting smushed all over, whatever. Um, so while he was trying to clean it off, he further noticed the bizarre consistency of it, and that both he and his friend, like his partner or whatever, they were quoted saying the substance was a very mushy and almost like you had jello on your hand, and you could pretty much just squish it through your fingers. So it wasn't like
Oh no.
yeah. He said that we did have some of the bells go off in our heads, basically saying that this isn't right, this isn't normal. Which, if it rains blobs, it's
What
not normal.
what are the blobs? Like, what is it?
Okay, so we'll kind of get into that. So it says, meanwhile, while the blobs fell from the sky elsewhere, they're about the size of a grain of rice.
Okay, that's
Um,
really small. But I mean,
yeah,
like,
it's pretty
since it
small.
builds up, it would cause ick.
Yeah, I think it would like congeal and like cause blobs on the ground or whatever. In the article I read, there's one account of like of a specific family that got affected pretty badly actually. So there's a farm home of Sunny Barclift. Shortly after the rainfall, her mother, Dottie Hearn, was hospitalized for dizziness and nausea. Basically, the doctors were like, they couldn't tell what was happening. They're like, blamed it on an ear infection. They're like, basically, we don't know how to help you.
They
But
like
this,
ran they like ran tests and did all this other stuff, and they were
see, I don't know how many tests they ran because, like, pretty much they just chalked it up to like because it was symptoms of like a inner ear like infection or something. A lot of people got sick actually with like severe flu-like symptoms.
flu symptoms. Okay.
Yeah. I said the overall over this whole ordeal, the blobs rained down different times in 3 weeks. So that's a
Six
little
different times?
6 different times. So that kind of adds a little bit of.
How long did this last? Like, how long did these like blob rains last?
I didn't see like how long like the spells were, so I don't
Okay.
know that for sure. But yeah, so 6 different times over a course of 3 weeks.
Ugh.
So yeah. So mostly, at least from what I've seen, there's been a few tests trying to figure out what exactly these are, like what the blobs are, what they're made out of. So one of the tests came up to say that it was reported to contain human white blood cells.
What?
Um, yeah. Upon further investigation by the Washington State Department of Ecology Hazardous Material, they are also the cells, the blobs were found to have no nuclei, so like they're altered white blood cells.
What? So
Yeah,
it must have come from some sort of like lab or something.
That's where it gets really creepy.
Maybe
That's
it's like okay, maybe it's like how we're talking about, like, the angel cream thing where it was, like, the coffee additive stuff, like, their air vents weren't up to code, so maybe it was, like, something like that where, like, the creepy, weird cells, white cell, blood cell, weird medical lab somehow blasted out blobs from there. I don't know. Tell me the answer.
okay. Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. We'll get to theories.
Okay.
Okay. So after her mom's illness, she did get better. Her mom did get
Okay,
better and recovered. Um, but after her mom got out of the hospital, Markliff took samples of the blob and stored them in her freezer so she could have people test them and stuff later.
Mhm.
There she had a microbiologist named Tim Davis. He studied the cells. Basically, what he
He
saw,
studied the blob stuff?
yeah, he said the blob stuff, yeah. He said that I saw what I think was a eukaryotic cell, which is basically a cell that has a definable nucleus and is found present in most animals. So it's a technically it could be a white blood cell. So like an altered white blood cell is what
Mhm,
I'm kind of getting from that.
mhm.
So some of the theories, one of the more popular theories was that the blobs were a result of bombing runs done by nearby military, which in the ocean about 50 miles from the farm, which could have caused an explosion and then somehow blown up a bunch of jellyfish, and then
What?
that turned into a rain cloud. But that also got kind of debunked because it says even though the Air Force confirmed that bombing runs had been performed over the Pacific during that time, they denied any knowledge of an unknown substance or any involvement creating or dispersing it. Yeah, but I think if it was jellyfish, I don't think it would have smeared like on the windshield. Like it wouldn't be like that jello texture. I don't
I
feel like. I feel
don't
like
I don't know what an exploded jellyfish would look like. I feel like it could be the blob, I don't know, but it seems so far-fetched, but I mean, this is an extremely crazy, insane story, like, thing to happen, so
yeah,
I'm not gonna rule it out, but I don't
yeah.
know.
No, don't. I wouldn't rule it out, but I'm not gonna test it
Mhm.
by blowing up a jellyfish. um, but yeah, so actually, this theory has been so popular that they actually have a jellyfish festival, or
Oh, that's nice.
that so the community has prompted the discussion of holding a jellyfish festival, and they have a drink in honor of the strange incident.
No, don't. I have, like, a vision in my head of what it is, and I hope it's not that.
Okay, what do you think it is?
I think it's like gel it's like a Jello shot, but they, like, take the Jello, like, the Jello shot, and they just, like, dice it up into, like, blob,
Oh,
like, ick, and then they're like, "Here you go."
I don't think it's quite that gross.
And
It's
no, then they throw it's, like, called the jellyfish blo it's called the blob shot. They take a Jello shot, they blend it up in, like, a pureed thing, and then they're like, "Where's your car?" And they're like, "Oh, it's over in the parking lot." They're like, "Okay, we're following you with it." And they're like, "Okay."
oh,
And then they're like, "What, this is your car?" They're like, "Yeah." They go over the windshield and they go, "Ugh," with the blender, and then you have to, like, lick the shot off of the windshield, and the shot is $20.
it's interactive. I like it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that. I like that idea.
it's like something that
Uh,
would happen in, like, New Orleans or something.
I mean, it's not quite that fancy. It's
Okay.
comprised of vodka, gelatin, and juice,
Okay.
so pretty normal.
So not as
Um,
fun as what I was thinking, but okay, that's fine.
no, I like your idea.
Thank you.
All right. So there's another doctor, Doctor Little. They
Doctor Little?
Doctor Little.
Is he
Yes.
related to Doctor Doolittle?
You have to go ask him. I'm not sure. That'd be a separate episode.
How many times do you think he gets that?
Oh, probably a lot.
All the
Yeah,
time. He's just like, "Shut
probably.
up! Shut
Yeah,
up!"
probably. But yeah, so he also tested the blobs, and his theory was that it was a concentrated fluid waste from a passing airplane toilet.
That
Um,
makes but why the white blood cells?
exactly. When or FAA got wind of that, they said no because they
White blood
have
cells.
well that, and also any of the fluids in the plane toilets have to be dyed blue. So and the blobs are
Yeah.
clear, so
Ew.
that debunks it. So and then Barclift herself, the daughter of the lady that got sick and that had the farm,
Mhm.
um, she says, commonly I thought it would be something like the flu. Some individuals, such as my mother, Dottie Hearn, and David Lacey, the police officer, had more acute symptoms. When my mother first found the substance on top, she found her mom found it on like a wooden box on her porch. And
Mhm.
apparently, she touched it with her bare hands, and then she realized that this isn't normal. Um, so, and then Officer Lacey wore gloves when he actually touched it. However, they both got sick. So it kind of makes me wonder if it's like more of an airborne illness and not something you touch and get sick.
But still, what is it?
Okay, well,
What is it?
so we don't
It's
really
not
know.
pureed jellyfish. It's not like toilet water from the airplane. What is
No.
it?
Pretty much no one really knows yet. Um, but on upon her mother's release, she asked Dr. Little, who's her mom's doctor. She's like, "What the diagnosis was? Like, what was this?" And he was basically like, "I don't know, some type of virus." And like, they didn't really have an answer. They didn't really try. They just were like, "Oh, it's like a flu. It's a virus. It's underlying illnesses, kind of that thing." Kind of brushed it off, even though it's like a completely like kind of a terrifying event, actually.
Yeah.
Barcliff did mention though too, like after her mom found the substance was touching it with her bare hands, she and her brother wore gloves to touch it and to kind of like to gather samples and things. And they said like they probably wouldn't have noticed what this like they wouldn't have paid any mind. They probably just would have thought that it was like just like a weird raindrop kind of a thing, if it wasn't for it landing on her mom's wooden box. It said like it was not a liquid and had mass. It was 3-dimensional. And she said that I became mildly nauseated a week or so after the first fallout and became acutely ill with a severe bronchitis 6 weeks post the initial fallout. So it could be like related, but it could not be because it was 6 weeks after it happened.
Hmm.
Um, but apparently a whole bunch of animals like dogs, cats, like bigger animals like cows and horses all got sick if they came in contact with the stuff. And
Okay.
sadly, some passed away due to complications. Barcliff also took the material to another doctor, Dr. Kiboshi, at the Washington State Health Laboratory. Dr. Kiboshi basically advised her to send a sample of the substance to the Washington State Health Lab, where it was assigned to Mike McDowell, one of their epidemiologists on staff. Basically, he set up a test to basically see what kind of bacteria would grow from it. There's two main bacteria that grew from the substance. I think it's, again, please forgive my pronunciations. It says Pseudomonas fluorescens, which is found most commonly in soil and water, and whose enzymes cause milk to spoil and cause bitterness, and due to slime and coagulation of proteins. So that's maybe where that jelly substance came from, like the how it got its structure. And then the second bacteria was Enterobacterium colicae, responsible for various infections such as lower respiratory tract infections, skin and soft tissue infections, and urinary tract infections. So a lot of infection and sickness. So the gel specimen was locked in a medium containment facility, and over time, Mike continued to research it. However, at some point during his time there, this sample disappeared, and basically when
What?
he was,
It disappeared?
it disappeared.
What does that
So
mean?
that
How?
we don't know because he asked his supervisor about it, and he's like, "Just forget about it. It's like
So
it's gone."
someone stole it.
That's what's very possibly thinking is
Uh-huh.
someone is a
Someone
cover up.
hacked it, snuck in there, broke in there, and stole the sample.
Yep. Pretty much, Mr. McDowell, he drew the conclusion that the material itself was man-made and being used
Uh-huh.
as a matrix, a vehicle capable of
What do you mean,
transporting.
Matrix?
Basically, it's just like it's a vehicle to transport whatever illness you wanted to spread.
So, what are the conspiracy theories? Because it's probably like some sort of weird lab sort of made virus, and then they just wanted to test it out, so they picked some sort of sad, sorry little town in
Yep.
Washington that they thought were like, no one will know, and they just wanted to see how this thing reacted. So they just
Yeah.
put it in that blob substance to just make people sick and see and like take notes. That's what it is.
Yep. That's my thought. That's Barcliff, the original daughter. Yeah, that's her conclusion. She said that. Yeah,
Because it
there's some
doesn't just
other.
disappear and then the guy's like,
No,
oh, I'd
no,
love
like
to know about it.
especially something this high priority and so like intense, like
That's
something that caused so much sickness, it doesn't just disappear.
that's
There's something
sneaky.
going on.
Sneaky.
Yeah, yeah,
Ick.
and his supervisor knew what happened to it. I'm sure he just chucked it out and he was like, because he got threatened to not
Probably.
continue. Yeah.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
so that's what Barcliff. That's what her theory is, that there was a some sort of training exercise and they kept testing it on this town just to see what the long lasting effects were with it. So yeah, but yeah. So it's. Do you think it's frozen wastewater from a plane or
No!
jellyfish.
No! No, 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 it's some sort of experiment that they did on this portal ton so that this has never has this happened anywhere else in the world
Not that
since?
I could find.
Okay.
No, this is like the one instance that I found of like this particular blob brain.
Mhm.
So I haven't looked into, I guess, other kinds, but
Oh my gosh.
so yeah,
Ugh.
so that's a little bit terrifying because if you think about it, if you have that much power to knock out a town for like if you're sick, like again, like if you're sick for like a week with severe like symptoms, flu symptoms, that can knock out an army. Like if you have it rain over them for like a
Mhm.
day, even like come in
Probably some
contact with it, you breathe it in.
I know, some sort of military experiment thing.
Yeah, which makes me so mad because it's like those are innocent people that you're supposed to be protecting,
Uh-huh.
and you're willing to
They
basically kill
probably did
them.
it on the small town just because it's a small town and they
Yeah,
didn't
there's
think
so
it
many other
was.
instances too of like weird things happening on small towns, and it's like they believe it's military actions that are being taken, and it's yeah. So I don't really want to live in a small town anymore.
Weird things happen in big cities too. Weird things
Yeah,
happen
that's for
everywhere.
true.
Anyways,
That's true.
what a great positive note to end on, Katrina. I hope no
Cool.
one
I'm glad you
listens.
thought so.
I hope no one listened to this at night before they went to bed.
It was a great bedtime story. What are you talking about? You have
Great
dreams of
bedtime
like
story.
raining spiders and blood and meat chunks, and you're just gonna
Angel
have
cream
frogs.
and creepy military equipped blob, like poison blob. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Should we plug all
Oh
our
yes.
stuff?
Yes.
Let's plug all of our stuff. So if our dear listeners would like to contact us, here we go, people. All right, guys, let's go. You can email us at,
fwplisteners@gmail.com.
you can follow us and DM us on our Instagram at,
The Foolish Wanderers podcast.
and make sure you subscribe, and watch us on our YouTube channel, which is at,
The Foolish Wanderers podcast.
yay! And we just want to thank everyone that's been listening. It's super cool to see our numbers keep ticking up. I hope we make your day. I don't know. It makes my day when I know that people kind of listen to us. What about you?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I love it so much. I love watching like the amount of listeners tick up every episode. It makes me really happy. It honestly makes my day. So thank you guys so much. It gives me joy and makes me want to keep going with this. So thank you.
Yeah. So thank you everybody, and you can. I mean, all our new episodes are out every Wednesday, and they drop
Yes.
at noon, and that's going to be noon North America Central Time. So
Yes. 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 Yes.
yep, so thank you to all our international fans. Thank you to all our national fans. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. We love you, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
What else? Oh my gosh. No, I gotta show you this.
What?
This happened yesterday. This was a news article. All right.
Okay.
I just thought it was really funny. You might not think it's as funny as I thought, but I'm gonna read
Okay.
the headline.
Okay.
Here we go. Chinese zoo embarrassed after attempting to pass off golden retriever dog as African lion.
Did they just like shave it so it had a mane or something? Is that what?
I'm
Like, is that
gonna.
how they?
I'm gonna. Here we go.
Like,
So so basically like these people just like went to this zoo in China, and they went to the African, like the lion exhibit, and
yeah.
instead of a lion, there was literally just like a golden retriever dog there.
They didn't do anything. They just had
No,
it.
it was just a golden retriever there. There was no lions in the enclosure. There was just a golden retriever.
How does that get confused? That brings up so many other questions.
I don't know. I couldn't find any other information, but it was just yeah. So like you were like, oh, the African big cats, and then it's just a golden retriever
It's
with
just a
a
dog.
lion.
It's not a cat. It's a dog.
Uh-huh.
The same color but completely different.
I thought it was.
My goodness.
Mhm.
It makes me wonder too, like what those zookeepers were doing. They're just like
I
you can't
don't
put
like.
the
Where's the lion?
animals.
I feel like the lion was like getting a bath, or he was like on vacation. They're like, they'll
Just
never know.
put a dog in there.
They're the
It's
same
fine.
color. They're the
Oh.
same color.